That was Simon. Eddie, Robert Helenius will fight Anthony Joshua on Saturday night here in London. How did you arrive at him?
I mean, firstly, obviously, received the news. I was on the East Coast time. The official news coming, the first we heard about it was around 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning. And got the news that Dillian Whyte had adverse finding in his VADA test. Couldn't believe it. I mean, it was like deja vu all over again and total shock. And then from there, you have to go to work. You know, the first thing you have to do, and we didn't get an opportunity to do it till the morning, was to speak to Anthony Joshua. I wasn't sure whether he'd want to fight. What I got was someone that was desperate to fight. And not just saying it, but this has been one of the best camps he's had in his career. He's been working so well with Derek James. His sparring's been fantastic. And he just said to me, who can I fight? And from there, you go out and you go into the wild west of who wants it, who doesn't want it, who's trying to get some exposure, who's trying to make a fortune. And, you know, we wanted someone who could prepare him for Deontay Wilder. We wanted someone who was credible. We wanted someone that would come to fight. We wanted someone that we could do a deal with at pace. And that's important when you've got 6 days to go to the fight. And we got to Robert Helenius, who, you know, we know has had some big wins in America. Got chinned by Wilder, but came to fight, and that's why he got chinned. And I don't think it's a disgrace to get knocked out like that. But most importantly, was in shape, boxed on Saturday, got a stoppage victory. He had 2 good wins on Fox in America. I think one was on pay-per-view as well. He's a decent fighter. Beat Derek Chisora, lost to Dillian Whyte on points. You know, he's a credible guy. 6'9", can punch a bit as well. And I think it's a good test for AJ to see where he's at after the Franklin bout.
Is he as good as you could get? Is that what you're saying?
I think within the time frame, within the the deals that were available, and you sometimes you get told Andy Ruiz wanted it. And
did he come into the conversation?
No, he put a tweet out on social media, never contacted us or the teams or the management team. But also, you're talking about a guy who wants probably, I don't know, 10 million, whatever it is, to fight AJ. He's not going to get on a plane on Monday or Tuesday and go through that process. We also understand the whole pay-per-view argument. We have done, and we are taking the fight off pay-per-view. The financial difference for Joshua in this fight is astounding, but he wants to fight. And, in terms of non-pay-per-view cards, I think this is probably one of the strongest we've ever done. Okay. Chisora against Washington, Hrgovic against Dempsey McKean, Johnny Fisher in his first title fight. No one can moan about that. But we're in a situation where, unfortunately, we have to deal with it. We all wanted to see the Dillian Whyte fight, but at the same time, Anthony Joshua says, I've trained for 12 weeks. I want to fight Deontay Wilder next, and I want to fight on Saturday.
Well, Eddie, to be fair, Simon, you actually were expressing some sympathy, if you like, for Eddie and the predicament he found himself in.
I was expressing some sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not easy, is it? I mean, Eddie tells us that the results, the information that he got was on the Saturday. I'll be curious to know when the tests were actually taken, and if that is indeed the fact, then those are the facts, and it puts him in a cleft position, doesn't it? I mean, there's other people out there like Martin Bacoli that you could have spoken to and perhaps had a conversation with about whoever he puts in this situation. Someone, somewhere, some segment of people are going to turn around and say, that's not good enough. The challenge is what do you do? Is Helenius someone that I would expect Anthony Joshua to deal with? Yes, I would. Is the challenge putting him into a fight of someone that he hasn't prepared for? We are watching the rebuilding of Anthony Joshua. Irrespective of whether I think certain things about Anthony Joshua, he does need an element of rehabilitation to get him to a point where he can go into the top table with the top guys. Whether that's Deontay Wilder, whether it's Tyson Fury, Anthony, or whether it's Alexander Usyk again at some point. And it's not unreasonable for him to have had this fight with Dillian Whyte. It's a proper good fight, that one. I think most people saw it in its merits and how it got, and I didn't like the idea of ridiculous things like rematch clauses in there, but we got there in the end. But I think it's unfair. And I'm quite happy to have a go at him, but I think it's unfair to turn around to him now and say, well, whatever you put, I didn't like the idea it was Chisora. I think Helenius is at the back end of his career and it's cannon fodder. But notwithstanding that, he could have perhaps delayed the fight, could have pushed it back a couple of weeks. That might be an argument that people could have made.
It's difficult to do that when you've trained for 12 weeks to break camp, and then the other option, honestly, was to fight in October, November. When you've trained for 12 weeks, then after that, come down, you have 3 or 4 weeks off, then you go back and you do another 8 or 9 weeks. We want to fight Deontay Wilder. We know December's unlikely, but we're still being told, and we were told as recently as 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whenever it was, you will be fighting. And he wants, and if he doesn't take this fight on Saturday, he won't fight Wilder in December or January, because he'll end up fighting October or November.
What about fight fans already? And many listening this morning, say I've got my heart's set on, I bought a ticket. I want to go and see Joshua White. So it's not happening. And I don't fancy Joshua Hellenius. What happens?
Well, I think you haven't done your research, Jim. You
Go
get
on.
a refund.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's as simple
absolutely.
as that.
I mean, look, absolutely. I would, we
So
do
you
this
expect
every
a
time.
lot of people coming to you for a refund?
I think it's a great heavyweight night. I think if you don't feel like you're getting value, you can get a refund. It's very simple. We have a very standard procedure, and we're fair to all customers. I think it's a great heavyweight night. I think it's a good heavyweight fight. I think it's a great undercard, but we also understand it's not what you bought a ticket for. So if you want a refund and you don't want a great heavyweight night on Saturday, you can get one.
So-
and also at the same time, it's not on pay-per-view. It's part of your DAZN subscription. I think there's a lot of people, that we know the pay-per-view argument, but it's designed to generate the revenue to make bigger fights. That's unfortunately the way the system works. It's not. But, we can't be fairer than that. Ultimately, it's something that happened that was out of my control, out of AJ's control, and we have to deal with the circumstances. And I think in the circumstances, we've acted swiftly. Don't forget as well, there's more than 10, there's 16 other fighters on the card who have trained for 12 weeks. Fighters only get paid when they fight. You've got fighters like, even the younger lot who aren't even on the main broadcast. You've got George Liddard, you've got Campbell Hatton, you've got Maisie Rose. These guys have trained for 12 weeks. They only get paid if they fight. They're the ones that are contacting me faster than anybody on Monday,
It's
saying,
also
please keep
unfair.
the fight
people
on.
were making noises about Hrgovic fighting him. First of all, he's not prepared for Hrgovic, and Hrgovic is the mandatory IBF. Right? He's going to beat Dempsey McKean, so he's not going to go in against Anthony Joshua and give up the opportunity to be the next cab off the rank against Alexander Usyk.
And also, he's had a 12-week camp for a southpaw. So, it's not as easy.
You've got to be fair.
Yeah, and I think there'll always be Twitter moans, but I think in general, most people go, fair enough, good night, let's get on with it, and let's see AJ put what I believe, and I'm not just saying this, I think he's in the best I've seen him physically, mentally. And that's why I was so disappointed, because I think either way you're going to get a great performance, but he must box on Saturday.
The thing is, Eddie, this is deja vu all over again, as you rightly said. You didn't pull Ben Eubank straight away, and you faced criticism for that when Ben failed a couple of tests. But you pulled this one straight away. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference?
Well, I think there's quite a few differences. I mean, firstly, the tests, the results, the substances were very different. Secondly, the conversations between the teams were different. Don't forget, that was a co-promotion, the Ben Eubank fight. This was a pure Matchroom promotion. When we spoke to Wasserman and the team, they wanted to investigate the situation further. There was a lot of cloud over the fact that the board don't recognise VADA because they've done it previously. And Eubank's team said, after taking medical advice, they were willing to proceed with the bout, subject to what the British Boxing Board of Control have to say. In this instance, AJ and his team looked at the results, wanted to terminate the contract immediately. We had 1 week to go. And, I will say, hands up, we learnt a lot last time. It was a fresh situation that we had to deal with in terms of sanctioning and also who governs what in terms of testing agencies.
But to be fair, Eddie, I understand your position, but that's not strictly true, because the rule was in place and you knew it was in place. And you argued with me last time emphatically, and where I will concede, your point that you made last time is about your inability to stop this fight, because you and I debated the fight with Conor Benn, and I said you could have stopped it. And you said I couldn't have stopped it. I needed the British Boxing Board of Control to stop it. I needed their sanctioning or non-sanctioning to put me in that position. And then, of course, that I argued about the fact you have a representation agreement. You said you don't. So I need the bout agreement to be stopped, right? But you took 48 hours to do it. And you've got your partner in the fight, your fight partner in Callie Sowland, on the day after the fact that you guys have been announced. You were told on the Tuesday evening, according to Robert Smith, October the 4th, this fight is going to be pulled by us. We're not going to sanction it.
Wednesday morning.
No, he told. Well,
no, he didn't,
then he's a liar. Then
well, absolutely.
Right?
If he's told you that, then he is.
But
lying,
he's told me that, and that's indelible.
Then he's lying.
Right. So he's saying on October the 4th, he told you guys. So then between then, or the 48 hours or the 36 hours, your fight partner told everybody in the world that you and he and all the parties were looking at other options. You didn't say it. He said it. Right. But that's not. So he's either not talking correctly about what you didn't do, but it was a 36-hour gap. In this instance, your boy, Frank Smith, had a conversation with Robert Smith on Friday, and they pulled the fight instantaneously.
Friday what, sorry?
This Friday just gone.
No, he didn't.
Well, according to Robert Smith, he did. So you had a conversation.
Hold on.
No,
Let's clear up a few things, because You're waffling some.
No, I'm not waffling.
No, you are.
No,
because you're talking like it's fact. You have to listen to what I say.
But I'm telling you the.
You're waffling some.
No, I'm not waffling.
No, you are.
No,
because you're talking like it's fact. You have to listen to what I say.
But I'm telling you the facts that I've
So
been
you're
told,
telling
not
me.
your version
Okay,
of them.
you're telling me. I mean, you can clear this up after.
Yeah.
Robert Smith told you that he had a conversation with Frank Smith
Yep, to cancel
on
the fight.
Friday.
Yep.
Just gone.
Correct.
Okay. The first knowledge that we had of this situation was on Saturday in the early hours of the morning.
Take that with
So
Robert
Smith
Take it up with the British Boxing Board
a
of Control.
complete liar.
Yeah.
If
these are the things, Eddie, that I think that you need to be careful of.
No, but I think you need to be careful because
No,
you come
I
out
don't.
with
No,
what
I
you
don't.
state as facts. What actually aren't.
Eddie, it's very simple, right?
No, but you walk around. I spoke to him.
It's very simple, Eddie.
You're a journalist.
There is I'm not a journalist.
Yes, you are. You're a disc jockey.
No,
you
spoke
spoke
to
to
Eddie.
No, but you are.
Eddie,
you can't wander around the industry
and
going,
you're-
"Oh, I was speaking to the chairman of the British Boxing
And
Board of
you're your
Control."
dad's son, whose business you inherited, right? So we can all throw out silly
Simon,
comments, right?
Let's wait. I want to address that. I
let's-
want to address that.
let's
One
get-
second. No, I want to address that one
finished.
second. No, I haven't finished.
I hadn't finished.
Because now you're talking
Hang on,
about
guys.
my father, you're talking about what I've inherited, and I'll say one thing now. You've got this bee in your bonnet. I don't know
don't.
what it is.
I don't.
You brought it up on Twitter the other day.
I don't.
You just brought it up again now.
Because
you
I think you're-
inherited your daddy's business.
because-
Now, let's get one thing right. You have done very well.
Yes.
And so have I.
Yeah.
This is what you did. You took a company, start-up, to
Yes, different to
what
you.
you say. Yeah, totally
Different
different.
to you.
We all play the hands we're dealt.
We do
Okay.
indeed.
You took a start-up company.
We do indeed.
To what you say was £100 million company. Lost a lot. Don't worry.
No, you
right?
don't. You don't know
Hold
that,
on,
Eddie.
let me finish.
Don't redirect into
Let
silly
me finish.
conversations.
Hold on, because I'm giving each other a pat on the back.
Hang on. We're talking about the consequences of a situation that's manifested itself. You took, whether it was 48 hours, you took 36.
I'm going back
You
to
took
the
30.
personal
You took
jive.
36
No.
hours. Eddie, you're the
Hold
one
on.
that makes
Hold on.
personal
Well, let's
jive.
get back on
Don't be
track.
silly.
Let's get back
I want
on
to
track,
finish
though.
this. I want to finish it.
I think people listening want to know what happened regards the fight.
Okay.
Irrespective of what
Okay.
you two,
Okay.
how you two have got to where you got to, or wherever. the
Okay.
heck
All
you
I
did.
was doing was.
Here's the thing.
You were correcting my view.
No.
Here's the thing.
No,
Eddie,
you
I
weren't
want to
correcting
ask
me.
you
I
this.
wasn't, it wasn't a view.
I want to
you
ask
were
you
stating
this.
it as fact.
Well, I think it is.
But Simon.
Because I think you were
Okay.
and people
I'll
won't
tell
say
what,
it to you.
Get Robert Smith on the phone. Go on.
Well, fine.
Get him on.
the phone. Happy to.
Get him on.
Well, we can get Robert Smith on the phone.
I'm
Well,
also,
call him.
but I
Well,
don't need to.
Because I don't see how
But Eddie,
how
Eddie,
the
but Eddie,
chairman.
I
of
don't
the-
need to.
You
Because
don't
I-
need to.
no, hang on.
But
I can play the audio from the interview that he did.
When?
So I don't need the audio.
When?
He did an interview with me in March of this year. It's
No,
a
no,
fact.
you're talking about
it's
the Dillian
indelible.
White situation.
And in this conversation,
You're telling you,
in
you
this-
spoke to him
okay.
this week. He apparently had a conversation with us
Eddie,
before we even knew
did
about
Did it take you 36 hours? I say 48 hours to cancel the Ben Eubank fight.
We
did
found-
it take you 36 hours or 48 hours? Because it definitely
Less
took
than-
you. It
less
definitely
than
took,
24.
It definitely took you 36.
No, from their decision.
But you
which
didn't
was
cancel it until Thursday evening.
No, we
And
didn't. We had a
and
press conference on Thursday afternoon,
Right.
where it was already cancelled. It was announced.
So
get your facts
So maybe
right.
32 hours.
Get
then.
your facts
Maybe
right.
32
The-
hours.
the,
then.
Not
fact,
even
the
24.
fact of the matter
Rubbish.
is,
Not
already,
even 24.
what we will
You're
do
lying,
is take
Eddie,
it.
and you know you are.
No.
You're
Get
lying,
him on.
Eddie. You're
Hold on.
lying, Eddie. You
Simon,
just misrepresent
Simon,
Eddie.
Simon, stay
And-
calm.
and in
Stay
this-
calm,
I'm
because you're
perfectly
going red
calm.
again. Listen.
I'm not going red.
You are. The
In
blood
this
pressure's
instance-
out of control. You've got to
in
calm
this
yourself.
instance,
Listen.
In this instance, you cancelled it promptly. So
Yes.
well done, you.
Thank you.
Well
You
done,
learn.
well done, you. But
You learn.
but you know what? Here's the thing: you couldn't do. Not even you, in your most brazen snake-hole salesman guise, could get away with delaying this particular one.
No, we didn't. No, we,
Yes,
we
you
learned-
did.
No, we.
Callie Sowland, who's your business
No, no,
partner.
hang on,
No, but it's a fact, Eddie.
But
Those
it
are
all
interviews that
started
you've
so
done.
well as well, didn't
Callie
it? It all
Sowland
started so
spoke
well.
on your behalf, saying that all parties sat around considering all options.
Correct.
So that means
That was-
considering all options. So when the British Boxing Board of Control, who have the authority, which you said they didn't have in the last interview that we discussed,
Which we
and
found
they
out
and
they
they
didn't.
subsequently found out they did.
No.
And as a blue chip promoter, I would have thought that you knew it. I did know it, but you didn't. But by the way, if you don't know 10 times as much as me, what the hell have you been doing all your life? Because you bloody well should do. But the point is, you sat and
you
you
know
sat in this.
nothing.
You sat.
You know nothing.
By,
And the reality
by
is,
the
you keep
nature of
making
what
up these
suits
numbers.
you.
We found out
But it's
Wednesday
not true, Eddie.
morning.
It's not true, Eddie, is
Thursday-
it?
Yes, it is true.
And you didn't
Because
stop the
you
fight
waffled.
until 36 hours later.
The listeners will
Everyone
hate me
knows
for
it.
this,
Left.
but I've got to
Everyone knows
jump
it
in,
was
guys. I've got to
Okay.
jump in at this stage.
Everyone knows
Whose
it was-
face is redder than whose is, irrespective of that.